Well, get ready to set your clocks back this weekend. Daylight saving time is coming to an end.
But the national debate over its usefulness is just beginning. This Sunday at 2 a.m., we shift our clocks back 1 hour. And while you may get to enjoy an extra hour of sleep, for many people, it's not worth the price. And it's a debate that's being taken up in Washington.
That's right. For more, let's bring in CBS News correspondent Errol Barnett. He's joining us now from Detroit. Hi there, Errol. Good to see you. So what was the original purpose of turning back the clocks during the winter months?
Hey there, Elaine and Meg. Well, originally, this concept had to do with saving energy. There's a bit of an urban legend that it had to do with helping farmers and their work, but that's not actually true. It was something originally proposed by Benjamin Franklin way back in the 1780s and wasn't really widely adopted until World War I. That's when the U.S. government saw the benefit of changing its clocks by 1 hour to better conserve fuel that was needed to light lamps. That's when the Congress passed the Standard Time Act. But it wasn't until the 1960s that President Johnson passed the Uniform Time Act because so many states in the country were iffy about whether or not to use daylight saving time. The Uniform Time Act, which also established the Department of Transportation, made one clear nationwide policy that everyone had to follow uniform time, and states could exempt themselves from changing the clocks, as Arizona and Hawaii does. Excuse me, here on the busy streets of Detroit. But no state as it stands right now can choose to make daylight saving time permanent. Just an overcomplicated way of saying everyone's got lots of different things to do in different time zones and can't seem to agree on when to do it.
Very good, interesting history lesson, and coming from the Motor City, not surprising, you're hearing some of those cars behind you. But what are some of the health risks associated with daylight saving time, Errol?
Yeah, what it seems is that whether you enjoy the longer days during the summer or the earlier nights during the winter, it's the adjustment that we all struggle with. And the National Safety Council has actually looked into this and found that in the days following clock changes, so for us that means next week, car accidents increase by 6%, fatal car accidents, that is. There's a 24% increase in the risk of heart attack. There's also an 8% increase in the risk of stroke, not to mention those who suffer from seasonal depression also being disrupted. These are the real world health consequences from having to change your schedule when you wake up, when you go to bed, how you manage taking the kids to school twice a year that millions of Americans suffer from. So while for some, you know, the daylight saving time debate is kind of fun to have at the office, it does mean real health risks for many people.
Yeah, it's pretty sobering to see those statistics, Errol. So back in March, the Senate passed a bill called the Sunshine Protection Act to make daylight saving time permanent. So let's listen to Senator Marco Rubio talking about this issue.
20 states and a huge majority of Americans want to stay in daylight savings time all year round. And we now have bipartisan and bicameral support to do just that. So please, let's just lock the clock once and for all.
So, Errol, what's the latest on that?
Well, here's the issue. This was a bill introduced by Senator Marco Rubio of Florida. It passed the Senate, but it hasn't been addressed in the House. And here's the issue. Senator Marco Rubio points to things like children's games after school. He says that he's been in some areas where the lights turn off in the fields and it's not safe for children. If we stick with daylight saving time, which extends daylight hours, then it would be more safe for kids. The problem with that is that for those who enjoy regular standard time, it would mean longer nights during the winter. And so there are just other considerations that people make. Also, it would mean officially changing American time in every time zone by 1 hour officially. So then that changes how we interact with other markets in other countries, and you just have so many other facets of our life that would be impacted by doing this, including, not limited to, travel as well. It would require an act by Congress to keep daylight saving time permanent, but you know, we cited those health statistics earlier.
Right.
The National Safety Council wants to keep standard time permanent. So it seems as if even if people can agree on what the problem is, they can't agree on what the solution may be.
Endless debate, right?
Right. The debate continues. Errol Barnett in the Motor City for us, Detroit. Thanks so much, Errol.